Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And it's a very happy Thanksgiving to all my viewers who are in the States. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend with family and friends, and that you are safe, and that they are safe, and that all is well in your world. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Thanksgiving in a moment. But in the meantime, just to let you know that we're going to be talking about a number of things on this broadcast. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the stress of being creative. And I've got a personal story to share with you, which I hope you will enjoy. Um, just one of those weekends. What can I say? I found a quote that I thought was really appropriate for us this weekend, and it said, "Family isn't always blood. It's the people in your life who want you to be in theirs, the ones who accept you for who you are, the ones who would do anything to see you smile." Uh, and it finished with, "and who love you no matter what." Uh, I don't know about you. I wonder who comes to mind when you think about that. Who in your life is there for you, come thick or thin? It just loves you for who you are. And I must admit that it's a very special weekend for me. And I'm giving a lot of thanks because, as some of you know, one of those people in my life would have to be Benji. And he just contacted me today to let me know that he'd done the paperwork and had his virus clearance and everything, because he's coming to visit me tomorrow. And it just touched my heart with all that's going on in the world. And uh, I haven't seen him for 2 years. Um, and it's just like I am so pleased that he's making the trip. But as you can probably imagine, with all the torrential rains and everything else that we've had here, and he's got where he is, it was very worrying to me whether he'd be safe. And then I thought, one of the things about stressing out is we worry about things we don't really need to worry about, right? He's an adult. He's a smart young man. He's not going to take risks. He knows that he would not make me happy by doing that. So I am very, very delighted for that. So, what were your experiences over Thanksgiving? Did anything stress you out? And I will come back to that in a second. In the meantime, and I just thought I'd give you some time to type if you wish to. Uh, who are we? Dear Mama Sal is a group of people. It's not just me. We get together 3 times a week. Friday lunchtime, we talk about coping with our feelings, because we all have them. Friday evening, we talk about coping with life, where we normally do a cook up. And by the way, talking about that, on Friday evening this week, you will see this on the replays. We did all sorts of different things with baked beans, because they are, uh, wonderfully easy to get and economical to get when this time when we're all feeling the pinch, but also they're actually good for you. And so we had a lot of fun doing that, and I hope that some of you enjoyed it. It was interesting. I don't know if any of you tried the pan fry meal, sheet pan meal, or one of them for yourself. I know that Jeannie, for example, sent me a picture. She did the baked beans and wiener sausage type thing, and it looked really, it looked really good. And it's. I think baked beans are one of those things that we forget, right? We grew up with them, but we forget to add them into our diet, and so it was fun to do. I have hopefully a lot of things that are going to make you laugh today at me. It's going to be my pleasure to have you laugh at me. But Sarah said, "Oh, Jody, for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin. And Jody is saying, I didn't stress out about Thanksgiving this year. I just had a few stressful moments when cooking the turkey on Wednesday, but all was well." Yeah. Exactly. All was well, right? Um, you think about that. It's just like I had somebody send me a video of them um, dropping a turkey into boiling oil, and I don't know about you, but that terrified me. I mean, that to me was an accident waiting to happen, and to see somebody you care about doing that. But he obviously was as happy as a clam doing it. So, and it wasn't Benji, by the way. Um, he was obviously happy as a clam doing it. But it was just like that mother hen in me really had a problem with it. Lordy, what can I say? Um, I saw a quote and it said, "Thankfulness is the quickest path to joy." Being thankful is the quickest path to joy. And let us not forget, the things that for which we are so very thankful. The fact we actually woke up this morning will be a good start. And I think part what happens to us is we forget so often how many things we do have to be grateful for. And so just keep in mind this, not just this weekend, but every weekend, all right, how lucky we are. Helen Keller said the best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Now, you must know that I wanted to make sure that I was in keeping with the Thanksgiving weekend, and I actually put on orange. Now, quite honestly, orange is not my color, as you already know, suddenly, and it clashes with the red in my kitchen. But I do have orange for Thanksgiving weekends, and it just makes me laugh. I've got these little traditions, right? Do you? So it's just like, really. Never mind. I wanted to start off by saying thoughts and prayers for the whole world. I don't know about the rest of you, but really scary to hear about this new virus that's out, and it was appears to have, had some relevance to South Africa, obviously. You can imagine how scared I am about that, how stressed I am to some degree, because that's where my brother is, and we know he isn't vaccinated. He was been taking the pills rather than be vaccinated, and so this is really scary stuff. If I want it to be, or do I concentrate on the fact that no news is good news as far as he's concerned, and I feel sorry for him because he had planned to go to Europe soon. And obviously, he can't do that anymore because everybody's banned travel from South Africa. It also clashes. Never mind. And get over it, Sal. Anyway, so I don't know what the upshot of this new strain will be, but we will deal with it. On the other hand, I just wanted to give you an update from Erin. She sent me quite the update. Now let me see if I can get it up here so I can read it for you. We know that she's going in for kidney surgery, kidney stone surgery on the 1st. But she said, "Hello, how are you? I just wanted to let you know that if I don't make it to the podcast, my kidney surgery will be this Wednesday, December the 1st. And also that she has started the process of getting her new wheelchair. And a guy came in apparently and took some measurements. And I picked up the chair that I will get. She picked the chair that she's going to get, and it's going to be in purple. Now, we know pink is her color. She's like Manon, but she said, yeah, it wasn't a pink one, so she had to get a purple one. But she also said, I have not much of a hip socket on the right side, so it slips in and out. They said the surgery wouldn't help that much because it would just come apart again. So the doctor is giving her extra time to do that surgery. When she goes in, they will take extra care when they're doing that surgery because of that hip a socket problem she's got. So I was pleased that we got that update. Thanks, Erin. I really appreciate it. Just for those of you who know, Kimmy let us know that the cardiologist said that she has AFib and that she is getting a pacemaker. That was an update, remember? And I asked about, did she talk about what happened with the receptionist giving her that information? And she did. And apparently, the receptionist misunderstood the instruction she had been given. And then Pat's birthday is on the 2nd. And I believe that Jeannie's husband, York, is going in for LASIK eye surgery on the 2nd as well. So we've got quite a lot going on this coming week. Phew! What can I say? It never rains, but it pours. Talking about it never rains, but it pours. We have now had the 2nd of this week's what do they call it? Atmospheric rivers dump on us. The second one is, I think, just ending now. We've had it for about 24 hours. Boy, a lot of rain came down. And so far, so good as far as where I am. I look at it and go, I am so grateful, to have a new roof. What can I say? How about this one? W.J. Cameron said, Thanksgiving, after all, is a word of action. We need to do something. So I want to thank all of you for being here and making my life more interesting every week, just by you being in it. I am very, very grateful for that. And what else have we got? I wanted to update you and let you know that I have my booster shot scheduled for December 7th. So, yay. I don't know why. The only thing is they won't have got the bit that they need for this new virus by then. But, I think I'm going to end up having to take a lot of vaccines this year. And I will be grateful for that if they come up with them. So what was the most stressful for those of you who are either in the room talking to us or watching in the background, or maybe watching and leaving comments on the replay? What was the most stressful for you in Thanksgiving this year, if anything? Was it the food? Was it the people? Was it the planning? What was it about Thanksgiving that was stressful? And then when you think about that, what would you do differently next year? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I take these stressful things and I look at them and I go, okay, how will I do it better next time? And the way I got into a habit of doing that was in the years that I spent being a professional speaker. As I was going home from the speech I'd just given, I would analyze it out and go, what did the audience enjoy? What didn't they enjoy? Because you can tell by the body language, what would I change for next time? And, I always used to debrief myself and just take notes and go, okay, fine, this worked. It's just like, let me see if I can improve this. And how would I do it? So if you think about it, some of us have done more Thanksgiving dinners than others. And for some people, I wonder if anybody out there did their first Thanksgiving dinner. Can you imagine? Horror upon horror. Now, the other thing I wanted to just say that it's the time of year where I actually wanted to dig out my Christmas lights, because I thought, boy, I tried to think, because Benji is coming up and he always wants to know what he can do to help, because he's that sort of a young man, right? He's a doer. And so I thought, what help do I really need? Well, I need some help outside, but what if it's torrential rain? That was the first thing that worried me. And then I thought, if it's not too bad, then maybe we can go out and put some Christmas lights up, which requires that I find the Christmas lights, which I did. And then what I did was yesterday, I don't know if any of you have done this. I know that Jody has, but I actually started to plug in my Christmas lights to see which ones worked. I think I had about 6 sets. 2 sets worked. That was the surprise. Short sets, I might add. 2 sets worked. I had 3 sets that for some reason only half of it worked. Now, I don't know about the rest of you. The one that completely confused me, I have to draw this. If you've got, the plug at one end, okay, and then you've got all the lights, and then you've got the socket thing where you can plug the next group in. What I found was of the 3 sets that only half of it worked, one of them worked from the midway onwards. How is that possible? It's plugged in here, there's nothing here, but there is light here. Anybody got the answer to that one? I'd love to know. It's just like, really? So I've got 2 fairly short sets that work. I've got 3 sets that half work, but you could be creative with those. Maybe I could use them, the steps going up to my house, and if it's raining, we could do that. And then the other thing I thought was, if it's not raining too hard, Benji could help me get my Christmas tree and the boxes of decorations out of the shed. So I'm actually quite looking forward to that. Of course, all I need is a few more boxes in my house, right? For those of you who don't know, I'm busy unpacking from coming back into my house after a fire last year. So, I want to know if anybody else had Christmas light challenges. I know that Jody wrote to me and told me that she had that problem with the lights they put on their tree. And she put the lights on the tree and turned them on. And guess what? She's got lights at the top of the tree and she's got lights at the bottom of the tree. But in the middle section, she's only got lights on one side. It's like, I think the gremlins come in and do something with Christmas tree lights, don't you? It's like, how can a set of lights only work halfway down and then some? I still can't get that one over. I just went, if I hadn't seen that, I wouldn't believe it. Now then, if you are now ready to laugh a little bit and maybe smile a little bit and ooh and ah a little bit, I want to tell you about my experience. Some of you know I work pretty hard on a Friday. I put together 2 broadcasts and I'm on my feet for, half the day. I'm on my feet, broadcasting. So I'm pretty tired. And as you know, that because one of the broadcasters, a cooking one, after I finish the broadcast, I spend the rest of the night trying to clean up my kitchen, which you'll be pleased to see is back to normal. But Saturdays is my day. Do any of you have one day that you go, this is my day? And I get to do whatever I want to do on that day. And sometimes it's go out and get my hands dirty out in the garden. But yesterday I decided what I really wanted to do was have a craft day. And what I said to myself is, you don't have to do anything else. If you do anything else, that's fine, but you don't have to. The only thing I did that was added to that was the situation with the lights. What I wanted to do was how many of, for those of you who were with us last week when we made that wreath, remember on Friday, not Friday just gone, but the week before, we made the wreath. Beth, I was thinking about you when I was putting my makeup on today. How is the new store? I was thinking I needed to write to you because I hadn't seen you and I wanted to know how the new store is. Are you totally overwhelmed? But how lovely to see you, Beth. Anyway, what I decided was I was going to have a craft day. And I gave myself full permission to just sit and do, hi Liz, good to see you as well. So here's what happened. What I wanted to do was to make a couple of boxes. You see these? To make a couple of boxes to go on that wreath that I made. all right? For the girls, all right? I wanted to put little gifts in for the girls. So I was really happy with that. So I've got it all packed up, ready for Benji to take back, but this is what it ended up looking like. So you now you see, I not only made the box, but then I took some glitter, all right, and cut out their the first letter of their names. So we got Mia and Kira, and that's Juliana. You can't see it, and obviously baby Leah. So now, how many of you know that because I used the glitter for that, I now have glitter everywhere in my house? Does anybody relate to that? Oh, Beth's saying that the new store hasn't opened yet. Wow, she's on vacation this week. Aren't we lucky to see you? All right, so how many of you think that wreath is now definitely beginning to look like it was worthwhile doing? And remember, I did it all with just dollar store stuff, and I did it for under $20 plus time. So, and as you can see, the little boxes are, I'm very happy with those. How many of you can see that I'm very happy with those? My body language tells you that, right? So what I did on the wreath was I tied it with red ribbon and then tied the red ribbon to the wreath, okay? So I'm really happy with those. So my craft day started really, really well. Then, of course, because once you get into that craft mode, and some of you will understand this, things happen. What I like about having a craft day is that you focus. You just get totally focused on doing that. And crafts are meant to be relaxing, and as you're going to hear, not so much for me. And my motto always when I'm doing crafts is it takes the time that it takes, and it will take 3 times longer than you think it will. Any of you relate to that one? If you think cutting out the card or something is going to take you half an hour, it'll take you probably 2 hours. If you're lucky. Crafting people will understand what I'm talking about. And I know a lot of my viewers are crafty, so that's why I wanted to talk about my week. The other thing is, for those of you who are crafty people, do you relate to the fact that once you start doing crafts, it's really difficult to stop? You sort of get it in the flow of it, and you don't want to leave what you're doing because you keep getting more and more creative. All right, Liz is saying, haha, well, I relate to the glitter. I have been personalizing ornaments for my new job, and they are all sparkly. My desk was full of glitter. Yeah, I had glitter on my face, on just everything. And I must have vacuumed the carpet underneath my desk where I was working, every 10 minutes or so to try and minimize the amount that I trekked through the house. Now, here's my hack. Before I brought this glitter to the kitchen, because I know how much it dropped glitter yesterday, I sprayed it with hairspray. Good idea? All right, so there we go. So this was the first thing I played with. And I'm really, really happy with it. I was, Now then, the next thing is that I saw a picture of a Christmas idea that I really liked. Very dangerous for me. So I was able to get the design online. And by the way, those are so pretty, right? And I think for anybody who is a crafty person, that's the reward. When you've finished, when it looks that pretty, you go, that was worth the time. So I saw this design online and I thought, that's so pretty. And to give you an idea, this is what it was. Oh, I can do this in a better way. Hold on a second. I've got a picture of it. So this is, what do you think? Don't you think that's pretty? Now, yep, I thought so too. Now, in the meantime, what I discovered was that I could buy blades for my cutting machine that were not generic that were not of the manufacturer make of the machine, but replacement blades made by somebody else. And all that I read about it was that they worked better. So guess what? Of course, I had to order some. Was it worth it? Yes. One blade from the machine people is about $25, I think. And I was able to get 18 blades plus the holder for the same amount. So how many of you going, that's got to be worth it, Sal? Yes, and not sure. The jury is still out on that one, and as I tell you the story. So first of all, this arrives with its holder, and the first thing you ought to learn is how to put the very sharp blades into the holder. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I start doing anything like this, it's amazing how stupid I can feel. Do any of you relate to that? And I keep remembering it can't be that difficult. Men probably do it, and so I'm going, I can do this. But it took me a while. And by the way, as you can probably relate to, this came without any instructions whatsoever. Interesting. Beth is saying, my daughter wants a Circuit Explorer 3 machine with the vinyl tools and bundle. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But I want to tell you something. It's a bit like a boat, Beth. It is one of those presents that she will keep throwing money at. But if she's creative, no end to what she can do. So anyway, I ended up getting this, and then I spent a couple of hours working out how to get this to work. Do you all relate to that? Yes, I saved money, but it took me a couple of hours to work out how to do it. So then I started to do it, and I managed to cut out. All right, I managed to cut this out. And I thought, boy, isn't it pretty? Right? And then here's the next problem. The next problem for creative people is once we see something like this, we start getting more creative. Do any of you relate to that? Because I looked at this and I thought, what if? You see, what if I turned it? This is just meant to stand on a mantelpiece or something, and I thought, what if I turned it into a card? Right? How many of you can relate to where I was at on that one? And that required a lot of thought because now I've got to be able to work out how to get these folds into the rest of the card so that it all matches up, right? And I did. I managed it. I think that's even prettier myself in some ways. What do you think? So it mails like this. And then this one isn't stuck down yet, but you get the idea. Isn't that pretty? And then what I've done, what I'm going to do is just not sign it on the white, but just put a little card in there that says, I'm signing it on a separate sheet of paper, because how many of you know that this can be a Christmas decoration for as long as they want it to be? They can bring it out every year. Yeah, put it in a frame, not put it in a frame, just have it on the mantelpiece, put it in the washroom. I don't care where, but it's like, I think it's pretty enough to do that. And if I think it is, then maybe other people, and some of you seem to think that too. So how happy was I? So pretty, right? Oh, so pretty. Yes, Liz, thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate it as well. So, but to do that, can you imagine the time it took for me to work out exactly where I needed the folds to be on the backing sheet of paper? All right, and then test it. Okay, test that it worked. And do you think it all went well? But in case I never did another one, I did take a picture of it, right? Now, it didn't all go well, people. And here is where I needed to learn just a little bit of patience. For some reason that I haven't quite worked out yet, this cut, oh, wait a minute. For those of you, let's think about this for a second. Do you understand that just cutting this is one thing, but then you have to literally go and what they call weed it, which is it'll cut the paper, but then you have to push the little bits out. How long do you think that takes to push all the little bits out of that? And by the way, how many of you going, you see the little light string here? Guess how delicate that is. Now, a lifetime, yeah. It's literally, by the way, how long do you think it takes the machine to cut this out alone? Just take a guess, just to cut it out. Now you can see there's an awful lot of intricate stuff in there, right? Okay, so just to do the cutting took 12 minutes when it worked. And then there was that bit where you've now got to sit down and poke all those little bits out. How many of you going, I couldn't be bothered? But it's so pretty, people. And that brings me joy. All right? And so then weird things started to happen. I think, okay, I'm going to multitask this, right? Because I can't keep sitting here for 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm a doer. So sitting there and watching a machine go clunk, 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 clunk for 12 minutes, it was driving me insane. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll set it to cut another one out, and then I'll go and do something. Well, here's what I found out. My new computer that I got, my new laptop, had a time setting that after it had been on without action for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it turned off. Guess what it did to my beautiful cutting thing? Yep. It just stopped that in the middle and just end of cutting. So, after I got back, I ended up with something that looked like that. Now, here's the next thing. Hi, Jeannie. So here's the next thing, all right? Can you imagine the joy of cutting this out, right? The joy. Now, you would think, am I correct, that if I just put the next piece of paper in, seeing as this one cut so beautifully, if I put the next bit in, it's going to do the same thing. You would think, wouldn't you? No. So, for some reason, I know it's beautiful. It's so pretty. I keep saying that. It's so pretty, but when you hear the horror story, you will understand. Now then, one go, it did cut it all out. Okay, here's the same thing. Okay, so if you look, it cut the house out It cut that tree out, and then for some reason it didn't do anything else. I don't know why. How many of you are quit now? I managed to cut 2 out, and the 2 took me over 4 hours. How many of you are going, no way? No way, Jose. Now, I keep saying, I'm one of those people where why go out and buy a card when I can spend 2 days and $100 making one? Mm-hmm. But it's so pretty. So then here's the problem again with a creative person. You start thinking, how else could I do it? What else could I do with it? Am I right? So then I started to think, wouldn't that be pretty? Even in my window. All right? It's because it's just so simple. Now, it's probably too small, so I started to think, I wonder how big I could do it. My question is, how many different uses can you think of for this? Right? We've got it that it could go on the mantle by itself. It can be a Christmas card. We found that out. I could framed in a shadow box. Absolutely. It could be a picture. So you understand, creative people understand my problem. This is why because our minds just keep going. I started to think, I wouldn't mind taking this and stenciling it and doing some glass etching with the the house, for example, is really pretty. It would look really pretty on a bowl, right? Or can you imagine this with a candle behind it? Can any of you imagine that? Or even this one, we are on a square. You know what I'm talking about. Hang on. Wait. We can do this. Wait. Okay. Some of you were asking me, we were talking about, don't waste money on paper this year. Buy containers that are useful. For gardening people, buy a planter. This is something that I said I'd show you. I got for Yvonne, because Yvonne loves little things to store things in, all right? So I thought that was a really cute little goodie. Hang on a second. But what I wanted to show you was and please notice all my wrapping this year is being done with paper that I have left over from the unpacking. I know everybody that knows me will understand it. Okay, so what I did was I managed to find the candle that matched the container. So I thought that would look really pretty for her, all right, that she'd have a container and the matching candle. Now then, let's do the experiment. Hang on. Now imagine if you etched that. Maybe I get the candle out for a second. think it would be pretty? Or even just the 2 Christmas trees? Can you imagine that? Or what about the whole lot, just one on each corner? All right. Just obviously at this level. That is the problem with being creative. Now, let me just get this back in here so I don't forget it. So, yeah, even the whole lot, right? So, what I was thinking about is there are so many possibilities to this if I can get the blades to work properly. But can you understand that the amount of frustration that I had? All right. How many times did this happen after I'd waited 12 minutes? And I kept laughing and saying, I tried to think of how many people I knew, no names mentioned, who would just go, no, thank you. I'm not going to do that. But you see, for those of us who are creative, we will keep going back to, but it's so pretty. And let me ask you, if you received this as a Christmas card, would you love it to bits? And would you hang on to it? Now, I think yes. All right? Because it is in itself a decoration. Now, I could just send it out like this, and drop a note in it, and it would still work. But I think it's nicer with the card behind. What do you think? Let me see what happens if we do a red one with white card behind it. That's also pretty, right? Yeah, and that's it. My theme this year, as you know, Jody, is give gifts that keep on giving. All right. So I thought this is a gift that will keep on giving. All right. So I like the white better. I don't know about you guys. Don't know for some reason. So I started this. You like it both ways, okay? So I started this at about 2:00 yesterday afternoon. 12 hours later, I decided it was time to get to bed, like 2:00 in the morning. What did I have to show for it? Don't forget the boxes, right? I did have this to show for it because I made all the boxes and the initials, so that was good. And then I did learn how to use these. That was good. And I did get some progress. But it was like the farther I went, the more problems I had. And I still don't know why. This will be, this is what hobbies are all about, isn't it? Because as soon as you think you know what you're doing, you want to expand your knowledge base. So then I went to bed. And I got so excited. And I got so excited because I saw that Prime was about to put on a program that I really like. Hang on, let me type this. Okay. There's a PBS program called Grant Chester, Grant Chester. And it's sort of like Midsummer Murders, except it's a minister who a bit like Father Brown, if you've watched Father Brown, but he's a young guy and really good looking, and really nice character. Uh, and suddenly I noticed they had all 6 seasons on Prime when I went to go to bed. Now, that's not good for me. So I ended up watching 2 programs before I went to sleep. But by the time I was halfway through the first program, I got the munchies because I hadn't eaten much. Right? I hadn't eaten much all day. So now then, for those of you who understand being diabetic, this is not a good thing to do. But I was so absorbed in the creative thing that I just clean forgot to eat. So I did have some. What did I have? Hang on. Oh, I made some rice. I just had to look because I only ate half of it. I made some rice with cumin seeds and stuff like that in it. And then I hucked in vegetables and the baked beans and all of that in there. And it was very tasty. So I had that sort of round about 8 o'clock at night, I think. But round about 2:30, I suddenly got the munchies. And I had a need for sugar. Now, that's not good. Because I was out of Halloween candy, so I couldn't get a little packet and satisfy that need. And I just thought, I don't know. And then I remembered somewhere in my life, I know I have some shortbread. Do any of you relate to the fact that I inhaled the whole box? I started with 2, and then another 2 wouldn't hurt, because I hadn't had much that day. By the time I got to the 3rd lot of 2, I was knowing I was in serious trouble, because if I got to there, I knew I'd just finished the box. And I did. Now then, for those of you who understand blood glucose, where do you think my blood glucose was this morning? Now, that is the interesting thing. Part of me wanted to stress out about the fact that I was going to really inflate my blood glucose by doing that, and I was going to pay the price. And I went, well, you know something? So be it. There aren't any more in the house. That's it. The most amazing thing is when I got up today, I was having my, just before I had my coffee, I put on, I pricked my finger and did my blood test. And, I was shaking, the stress of what I was about to read. I was expecting it to be well into the 140s, at least. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 150 even, because, I had a lot of flour in there and a lot of sugar in there, all sorts of things that I'm not meant to have. The most amazing thing was it was 108, or in Canadian terms, it was just 6. And I went, whew. And I can only presume because the only meal I had, I was showing you on Friday that what I do is I put 1/3 of a cup of pasta, or 1/3 of a cup of rice, or 1/3 of a cup of spaghetti into jars, and I know that's what I'm allowed to eat. All right, I can have pasta every day, but I'm not allowed to cook more than 1/3 of a cup, and because my body seems to be able to handle that. So, the most peculiar thing was, by the time I made the rice, and it was brown rice, so that's a good thing. It made, and the meal, hang on a second. Oh, it was uh, yeah, it was the lemon chicken I had. Sorry, but I put it over. I put it over the rice. I ended up with enough for another meal because what I realized is that I now eat less, and I think that's why I managed to um, keep my blood sugar under control. But talk about, phew, am I so glad about that. So, seeing as we've got both Beth and Liz here today, guys, have you got any updates for us? Because, I don't know, you probably missed the updates at the beginning, but I certainly would love some updates that we can share with the viewers. I'm just going to put these away while you type. It is really amazing how much I got away with. It was just like, phew. So I thought about it. It's a bit like intermittent fasting with results. All right. And now I know if I want to do some intermittent fasting, it's a really good idea to start on a creative project because that will keep me not thinking about food. It'll, my focus will be on creating. I wanted to ask you guys a question about that. Is doing something like this good for our health or not? That was the question I wanted to ask you. Because I'm pretty certain that you all will see that there was a lot of stress attached to this. So what do you think? On a scale of 1 to 10, is doing something as complicated as this good for you? And if so, why? All right? New equipment. Think about this. New equipment, new design, then going from the base design into what if. Oh, is 1 bad and 10... What was the question? How good is it for you? Yes, let's do that. With 1 being it's not good for you, and then 10 being it's really good for you. All right, what do you think? And why? All right, so Jody's saying it's very good for you to keep your mind active, problem solving. So even though, and Liz is giving it a 10. Why, Liz? So yes, Jody, I agree with you. Even the frustration of the new equipment, all right? Because learning anything new requires some level of pass and fail, right? Do you agree that learning anything new, it takes time? And how many of you would have even started this if you knew it was going to take 4 hours just to do two of these? But then I came up with another thought, of course, because, Jody's saying great for the arthritis as well, using the hands to weed, the weeding. I want to tell you, Jody, can you imagine, I've got arthritis, can you imagine the pain in my hands after I weeded 2 of these? Right? And it was just like 1 a day probably is good, because you're literally poking those little holes out one by one. It was just like, why did I start this? Do any of you relate to that? you're busy doing it and you're going, why did I even start this? I must have been insane. But then you look at it and you go, but it's so pretty. So yeah, Jody, I'm inclined to agree with you. Two things. One thing, if we want to protect our minds from Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that, really important that we keep using our minds, all right? And I agree with you, Jody. This is both creative and problem solving. All right. So I had to solve the problem. How do you use these? And by the way, for those of you who've got arthritis, you will relate to this. Hang on, I got to get one. I got to get this out so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay. So you can see here are the individual blades, all right? Actually, there were 6 of them. And then, but you also have to work with, I can't even separate them enough to show you, these tiny little springs. Can you see those? Now, how many of you know just getting that tiny little spring onto the tiny blade before you put it into the mechanism was in itself mind-blowing? How many times do you think I dropped the spring? Now, what I learned, it's a really good idea to do this on a piece of white paper and preferably in the lid of a shoebox or something. So when it falls, it's not going to run onto the floor. Because if it went on the floor, I would never have found it. So I got quite creative about how to do this on its own. That was the interesting thing. And so now we know that problem solving is good for our health. How excited do you think I was this morning when I saw this again? All right. By the way, I've got one. I've got 3 now because one I've already packed up. It's on its way somewhere. But, can you imagine that I woke up and I saw this morning? Now I had this great idea. All right. I've got double glazed windows, but you can actually lift up the inside one so you can clean the outside one. Does that make sense? I was thinking, what if I put these in that space between the two? Thought that would be quite a good thing to try. Especially next year, maybe put cotton wool there first, and then, I'm going to start building a collection that I can put in there. Liz is saying, honestly, I think it's more than just for brain health. It makes the inner kid happy too, toying with things, thinking outside of the box. There's joy in that sort of frustration. Yes. Now, the other thing I thought about, Liz, which was I kept wasting so much paper, right? Because each time, this is a whole piece of paper, and because this blew up for whatever reason, I've now wasted a whole thing of paper. And what I started to think about, I wonder if I can show you this. Yeah. Where's the cut line here? What I started to think about was, what if I divide these up into 4 individual pieces and just make the little flap where I can glue one to the other? Do you get the idea? So this would be one, this would be another one, that would be the next one, and then this would be another one. But they each have a little flap on them that I can glue and put them together. So if this goes wrong, I'm not wasting a whole thing of paper. I'm just wasting this much. I thought, even though there is that extra step to it, now that requires, you see, this is where being creative is really a mind-blowing thing. That required that I go, and I was doing this morning before the broadcast, that I take the design, which is all of that, and then I cut the design to just show that bit. And then And then I add the little flap it needs, and add the score marks along it so that it will fold. You know, I had quite a lot of fun just creating that. Now, all I need is for it to be able to cut, and I'll be happy. Now, you guys know me really well. Do you think I threw away? Actually, hang on a second. Obviously, I threw away the paper that can't be salvaged, like here. Okay, but the rest of the papers I kept. Make sense? And if you're a creative person, I really recommend getting a pair of these. Hang on a second. Whoops. Because whenever you've got leftover paper, they are awesome pinking shears is obviously what I'm saying. But they're awesome for making little cards to stick inside a card or punch a hole in it and use it as a tag. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, I didn't even square that up, as you can see. I just cut it to show you. But don't you think, that's really good use? Now, what else would you use? I'm always about, let's think outside the box. What else could you use this for? All right. So I'm giving, hang on a second, I can show you. Yeah. One of the presents I'm giving my girlfriends is a little atomizer for your perfume that you can keep in your purse. And all you do is you take the top off your perfume bottle, and then this has a goodie in the bottom. You just stick it on your perfume bottle, all right? And then you've now got perfume in your purse without having to take it. So really cute size, I thought. But if you don't know what it is or how to use it, I thought just going to type it on here and then put this in with the instructions. Make sense? We're thinking leftover paper. How many of you know if I got nothing else to do, I could actually take some of the wasted paper and oh, it's a pleasure. Liz is saying, oh, someone gave me one of those, but I couldn't figure out how to use it. Okay, that really helped me. Let me just show you. Hang on a second. Because a picture does paint 1,000 words. Okay, so here is my perfume bottle, Paloma Picasso. I'm not getting paid by them. It comes with this little doodad on top of it, Liz. Okay, just take that off. Now you're left with this. This is mine, not the one that I have in the box. This is my own one. And as you can probably see, it's got a little bit of perfume at the bottom there. Can you see that? So now all I'm going to do is stick it on top of here. Okay, and it's double the amount that's in there. Okay, so now when I finished, I just do not lose this little bit. Put that back on top. Put the lid back on. I actually keep this one in my, I love this perfume. I've been wearing this for about 30 years. What I do is I keep this one in my drawer and just keep this one in the cupboard in the dark. But this is the one I use sort of when I want to use perfume. And obviously, if I want to take it with me, I can just put it in my pocket or in my purse or whatever. Whereas before, all right, Jody's still being creative. Thank you, Jody. I owe you gift cards. What a good idea. I owe you a lunch on me. All right. Happy Christmas. Good idea. Or I owe you a meal. Yes, what a nice idea. I know one person, a friend of mine, gave her mother a complete book of vouchers, which I thought was really clever because you could do that, right? You could cut a lot of different pages the same size and then just put a couple of holes and some ribbon to tie them together. And you could just score a line here so they can pull out. But what she did is made a whole book of vouchers. And one voucher was for a show somewhere. One voucher was for dinner. One voucher was for a trip anywhere. If she wanted to, go to, go buy flowers or whatever, plants and things. One useful trip like that. So she had one was for go to the cinema, go and see a movie together. So it was the Christmas year. And every month she got to use one of the vouchers. Don't you think that's clever? So I think, again, if you're a crafting person and you do anything to do with cardstock, you always have a lot of cardstock left. And so to me, it was like, I keep mine. Whoops. Hang on a second. I just, this obviously isn't my total batch, right? This is just what I had left over from yesterday. But what I do is if I'm making a card for somebody, I quite often will cut that decorative bit. I don't know what I did with it now. All right, guys, what did I do with it? There, no. We know it's here, isn't it? Okay. That is so funny. Where did it go? Never mind. But I will use that decorative bit inside. So maybe the card is in green, but it'll have a white inside piece to it, which will have something written on it. So again, could I use, could I use a little one on the, you could make snow. How many of you are going, that would look so cute? What if this, you see I'm being creative again. Can you imagine this is now like a little house with snow? Make the lid out of white with the scallop, which we got. Oh, I like that. Why do I like that so much? Yeah, one piece will do it too. And then just put a little chimney on the top. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Very dangerous for me. So we know that the problem solving is good for us. How about the joy every time I see this? Now, obviously, it won't be today because I got to get ready for Benji coming tomorrow. But, probably Tuesday, my one step will be to put little backers in here that just hold it away from, just a little bit away from, make it more 3D like. You see that? It just stands out a little bit. And so there also then the shadows come, and you can, I don't know if you can see the shadows, but it makes it like a 3D card. So I'm really happy. Now, what I haven't done yet is I can make the matching envelope if I wanted to, right? And with my machine, I can put a pen in it. And so I could actually do a mini one of these, just the house, for example, or maybe the two trees on the envelope. Yeah, I don't know why and you could do this equally well on with a green background, or blue would look wonderful, right? So I just think it's so cute. But again, easy to personalize it. Like if you know somebody well and you know what color their living room is, you just do the background to match their living room. So now here's the other thing. Not everybody's got the fancy machine, and you want to be glad for that. Not everybody's got the fancy machine, but you can actually do quite a bit with a craft knife if you want to. And if you keep telling yourself it looks so pretty. Okay. Now then, another thing, while we're talking crafts, don't throw away any credit card type things. So this is a loyalty type card, because when you're doing anything that has score marks like this, and by the way, score mark is just a row of little perforations down there. You can do that with a craft knife. You don't have to have a machine. My machine does it, but that's it. I wouldn't want to cut these out with a craft knife, people. Although on one of them, I had to cut out quite a bit with the craft knife. You have no idea how long that took me. And one of them, I was halfway through doing it, and I went, forget it. Really, it's going to take way too long, and I'm not going to keep doing this. It's not fun anymore. So, let me rather waste the paper. Now then, what's the learning here? Am I far enough ahead in my Christmas stuff that I can play? Yes. All right. I can play. And Jody, seeing as you're still talking about the box, all right, you do know that some of my time is going to be working out, maybe not this year, but maybe during the next year, working out how to turn that into a roof, a snow-covered roof. All right. And then just have the house on it. Or I don't have to cut it out. Look at that. It's almost perfect. I just have to take the design here. How fun is that? Just that bit. And then have the scallop bit underneath it if necessary. It's never ending. Now, the one thing I haven't played with yet, but it's worth a thought. We're talking about making pictures for people. Yeah, so you understand this would look pretty good. Now, I've got one more thing I can show you that I've been working on. Hi, Megan. Just hold on one second. such fun, really. You see, the instructions are on the back, made with that scallop paper. The gift that keeps on giving, because, and the instructions say that during the year you can put your picture in here, whatever you want to do, but at Christmas time, put the picture at the back, and then you've got Christmas decoration. Right? It is just a picture frame. But how many of you are going, that's a gift that keeps on giving? Yeah. The perfume thing, all right? Gift that keeps on giving, right? You can keep refilling it. It's not a one-time thing. So to me, it's really important. And I would rather spend the time, not waste money on wrapping paper this year. And that will be in everybody's bag, will be a note to say why I have wrapped in packing paper. Because I would rather take that money and buy them an extra present than do that. Just my thing. I keep saying this to you, that all my friends that I would normally in the old days have sent presents to, I don't do it anymore. I would rather send them the money that I would have spent on postage, because it's horrific. Funny story. For those of you who know that I tried to get myself a toaster oven stroke air fryer, I needed to return it to Amazon. And, you know, it was a ninja puzzle to get it all back in the box, but I got it all in the box. Then I had to get it into the car. And, you know, it's pretty big and heavy, but I got it into the car. But, of course, it was the torrential rain time. So all the way from my house to the post office place, well, you know, the local pharmacy that has a post office outlet in it, I'm going, and I really want you to hear me, I'm going, I need to either be able to park very close to the entrance, or I need to have a cart very close to where I park. You know, and I kept saying that to myself. That's what I need, you know, because it's really important in your life to work out what you need in life. Because if you don't know what you need, you're not going to get it. Plus, I needed to be able to park where there were two places, because I needed enough room to open my door completely to get that big box out again. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So I went there, and there wasn't a place where there were two stalls available near the shop. So then I went into the sort of central parking area, and I found two empty places together, parked there, and then got out in the torrential rain, muttering, picked up the box. And now, you know, the rain's coming down, and here I am with this big box, you know, trying to manhandle it. And as I turned past my car, there was the cart waiting for me. Now, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence, or did I program it to be there? Because all the way driving there, I asked for either a parking spot, two parking spots very close to the store, or two parking spots with a cart near it, so I didn't have to carry that parcel too far. Think about that. Is it a coincidence, or did I program it to happen? And you can all laugh at me, but I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that it's amazing how many times things like that work if you ask for it. Kaylin is stuck in BC. You know something? Are you still in touch with him, Liz? Because if so, tell him I was talking to him a lot when I was trying to get these blades to work. And going, where's Kalen when I need him? It was just like, he's your boyfriend still. That's wonderful. I didn't want to presume that. Ah, that's wonderful. Well, I want to tell you something. Um, I think of him often when I'm doing these things. And literally the other thing I didn't tell you about, guys, that also was a problem is when you've got one of these die cutters, all right, the mechanism to hold the blade is like this. It's about this big. It's about this big. And you drop it in a little holder and tighten it, and then it cuts like this, right? Very small little cuts. And then, yeah. Now, this new holder that I've got with these new things, they don't have measurements on it so you can tell how deep the blade is. So you've got to do a lot of trial and error on it. And what I found is if you get the blade down too far, when it's moving from point A to point B, you can actually see the score mark. So that doesn't work well. This is all, but it hasn't got any way that you can graduate it. So how many of you know I was busy trying to put little graduation marks on the thing so I'd be able to work that out? Really funny. But here's what I found. With this thing doing this so much, because that's a lot of work, it was pushing this up. So every now and then, I couldn't leave it, as you know. Every now and then I had to put the machine on pause, undo it, let the thing drop back down again, tighten it up. It was a comedy of errors. And why did I continue? It looks so pretty. That's why I continued. All right. And I've said that so many times during the broadcast, but I want you to understand, for anybody, what is the motivation? The motivation is it looks so pretty. Why does anybody spend hours and hours putting up Christmas lights in the rain? Because they look so pretty. All right. And now then, if you think about it, I could have made a whole set of these in no time at all. And that is pretty, but I already know how to do that. This was a learning moment. And you know that by next year, I will have worked out how to just do individual tree, everything out of just this one pattern that I got. So again, it's a gift to me that keeps on giving. How much have I learned? Yes, it took me 12 hours, but think about, was I worrying about finances? Was I worrying about, anything else in my life? Or was I just enjoying my crafts and problem solving? And I realize that some of us have the ability to just keep going until we get there. And that is what I want to just make sure you remember. Stress is only stress if you're not enjoying it. If you're not having moments of, oh, it's so pretty, and I want to make another one. Can any of you relate to the fact that once I'd finished one, I immediately wanted to make another one? No, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I've done one. That's good. No, I immediately wanted to make another one. And when I had two, I immediately wanted to make a third one. All right, just keep going. Yes. And remember, if you're doing anything to do with crafts, remember Sal's motto, it takes as long as it takes. How many of you know if it takes me all year to work out how to do this one in some sort of way that is less problematic, I will do it? Not because I want to make 600 of these. It's the learning to use the blade, to use the machine, to work out, um, I want to tell you, a year ago, I wouldn't have known how to cut this pattern and make it into an individual one, which I do now. All right. Why? Because I spent the time making mistakes, a lot of them. But now I can do it. I was quite amazed how quickly I actually pulled out that one section. So stress isn't all bad, and joy isn't all good. They say that a wedding is as stressful as a funeral. All right? It is like, it's all emotional stuff. And stress is stress if it's out of your control. And Liz, you've been there, right? But when you can control your stress, when you can keep a sense of humor, do you think that, how many times did I say to myself, you could stop now, Sal? Nobody knows. Oh, Jody knew what I was up to. No, yeah, but really, you could just stop. You can pretend you never downloaded that pattern, but it's me. It is not going to get the better of me. And I think you're right. I think it would make a really nice picture. All right, just as a picture, in a nice frame. So the same one as the one I did before, right? But more than anything, if I didn't give away a single card or a photo frame, do you understand that I have used a lot of my brain? I have had a lot of joy, and I sat on my bouncy chair for 12 hours crafting when I should have been tidying up the house. But the house will get tidied. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of us is to say, I am worthy of a day to just play. Yeah, Liz is saying moving, long distance relationships, COVID, her father's illness, working and school full time. But I have realized I thrive in crazy. Yes. You are happiest when you have got lots of balls in the air. All right. And I was saying to somebody this week, Liz, somebody who's very busy at the moment, very busy. They're older than I am, but they entertain a great deal and all sorts of things. I'm saying, I'm amazed what you do every week. And she wrote back to me and said, wait a minute, don't you write and then present 3 live broadcasts every week? And one of them is a live cooking show. And I went, yep. And she said, yeah, I think that's quite a bit of work, don't you? And I hadn't thought of it that way. But you understand her point. I saw that her entertaining and everything else was an awful lot of work. I forgot just how much time I spend preparing, deciding, it was so funny this week, when I thought, what am I going to do on the Friday evening? And I thought, I think I need to do something about baked beans. No, I don't. No, Liz, I really didn't give it a lot of thought until she said to me, and I thought, well, okay, fine, let me think about that. So it's 5.5 hours of broadcasting. 2, 4, 5.5 hours of broadcasting. Then there's a prep. The prep for the food one probably takes me the longest because I've got to literally go and get food and do stuff. The prep for the ones where I'm just, talking about stuff doesn't take me as long, if you like, because it's just notes and I can sit and do that when I'm doing I can sit in bed and do that, or I can sit watching television and make notes. But the cooking one, you have to actually get everything ready. So that one takes a little bit more. But so many people seem to enjoy it, so why would I not do it? And by the way, I was delighted that people tried some of the baked bean stuff already. So there we go. All right, everybody, I am now going to tidy up the mess again. But before I go, isn't it pretty? And was it worth the time, effort, frustration, and everything else? I think so. And that is the joy of the season. You see, to me, I know how much love went into making it. And I'm pretty certain anybody that receives it's going to know that as well. So to all of you and all of yours, I want to actually just go again with that quote I started with, if I can find it, because it's so important in my mind. Hang on 1 second. Family isn't always blood. It's the people in your life who want you in theirs. The ones who accept you for who you are. The ones who will do anything to see you smile. And think about this. Think about this. And who love you no matter what. Whether you've been ill, whether you are ill, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are whatever, they just love you. And so I took a moment, even though we have had our Thanksgiving back in October here in Canada, I took a moment today just to re-thank a number of people I knew, other than the ones I knew I would see here, and just remind them that I appreciated who they were and the fact they were family to me, even though they're not blood family. So happy Thanksgiving weekend. For those of you who might be traveling, do so carefully. I'm just so touched that Benji's coming tomorrow, and I'm sure that we will talk lots, laugh lots, and he's just coming up for part of the day and then going back again. But anything I can get, I'm going to be very, very grateful for. And I'm going to get a hug. And, it's like, to me, getting that hug is really important to me. It's wonderful. Liz is saying, I'm glad I took the break to watch you. Thank you for that quote too, Sal. It's a pleasure, Liz. Remember it, right? I will certainly enjoy Benji's visit, and we will undoubtedly get some pictures for you so that you can see us together, because I know you like that. This is DearMamaSal saying, not all relaxation is peaceful. Some relaxation is hard work, but the overall effect on your body is one of help. All right? However frustrating this was, the joy of, isn't it pretty, overcomes it. And so challenge yourself this week to see things as works in progress. And remember, you don't have to get it right the first time. I kept telling myself that last night. Don't have to get it right this time, but I'm going to try it one more time. And then one more time. What do you mean it's not working properly? It means I got to try it one more time. And I'm certain you're all laughing because you can relate to it. You see, like you guys, I'm just a human being. I knew going to bed was probably the better idea. And then when I went to bed, look what happened. Grantchester was on Prime, but only for 3 days. And I got Benji coming all of tomorrow, so I can't binge watch it. It was just like, but I can on Monday evening. This is DearMamaSal saying, Love you dearly. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you later. Bye bye for now.